Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that's crucial for every ESL teacher. The topic is how to effectively assess both learning and teaching in adult ESL programs. So, whether you're a new teacher or a seasoned educator, having a complete understanding of assessment can actually transform how we support our students' learning journeys. So, let's explore together the various tools and strategies we can use to make assessment work for both us and our learners. So, let's get started with this very important thought. Assessment in ESL programs isn't something like one size fits all. As a matter of fact, it's like having different lenses to view students' progress uh, from like a helicopter view. Let's look at all the three main areas. First, we have formal assessment. Think like the standardized tests that we have, like TOEFL or IELTS. So that's that. Then there's informal assessment. The day-to-day observations we make in class, that's what I mean by informal assessment. And finally, there's something called self-assessment, where learners take ownership of their own progress. Each of these different kinds of assessment plays a very pivotal role when we use them together. They give us a complete picture of learner development, of our students' understanding of the concepts um, and the overall development at large. So let's dive deeper into each one of them in this class. Now let's talk about standardized tests. They're often seen as the necessary evil of ESL teaching. But here's the thing. While they have their benefits, like providing consistent benchmarks across programs, they also have limitations. For example, think about your own experiences learning a language. Could a single test capture everything you learned? I'm sure it's not true, right? That is why we need to balance standardized testing with other forms of assessment as well. This brings us to alternative assessment, and that is my personal favorite. It's like having a toolbox with sort of like different tools for different jobs. Through observations, we can track daily progress. Through performance tasks, students can show that they can actually do with the language, what they can actually do with the language in real situations. And there's something called portfolios. What can students do with portfolios? It's a very interesting strategy. They're like a photo album of a student's learning journey that can actually show their overall growth over time. So let me share a quick example from my own classroom. Uh, this is actually where things get really interesting. I'm now going to be talking about learner self-assessment. Think of this as an empowering, as something that is empowering students to become the drivers of their own learning journey. So we start at the top with goal setting, just like a GPS that helps us with telling us where the destination is. Then we have learners that identify their strengths and needs. That's working what needs work. As they develop strategies, they become more independent learners, which is a very important concept in ESL. It's called learner autonomy. And there are a lot of strategies that ESL teachers use in their respective courses when it comes to learner autonomy. And finally, they get a voice in shaping their learning experiences with this very methodology. I remember one student, her name was Varsha. She'd recently moved to the UK, and initially she was quite hesitant about self-assessment, but by the end of the course, she had completely transformed her approach to learning. She started by setting a simple goal, which was being able to talk to her child's teacher, and the teacher was English as well, without an interpreter. So each week she'd actually practice the relevant vocabulary and expressions, then track her progress in her learning log, and then finally identify areas she needed more practice on. So when she finally had that parent-teacher meeting entirely in English, she was so proud. But more importantly, she understood exactly how she'd achieved that goal and could apply those same strategies to sort of tackle new challenges as well. This, my dear teachers, is the power of self-assessment. It's not only something that helps students track their progress, but teaches them, most importantly, how to learn effectively. It's like teaching someone to sort of fish rather than giving them a fish. When we guide students through this process, we're helping them develop skills that will serve them long after they leave our classroom. So now let's look at how assessment fits into the bigger accountability picture of a course. We need those standardized test scores that show progress, but that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's something called alternative assessment. Alternative assessments capture those amazing aha moments that tests can't measure, most importantly. And don't forget tracking goal attainment. For example, when a student finally nails a job interview or helps their child with homework, you could have adult students, which is what we spoke about in the beginning of this video. These successes matter just as much as test scores matter, if not more. So let me now share and show you how we can sort of document all of these different types of progress. Assessment, this is something important to note. Assessments aren't just about our students, it's about us as well. And what do we mean by that? These videos that you see at Cambridge Veritas are actually based on professional development. And that's the key. Professional development continuously, actually I'd rather call it CPD, which is continuous professional development, keeps our teaching fresh and most importantly effective. A lot of you are joining me right now to sort of freshen your skills on assessment techniques, and that is, my dear friends and teachers, is continuous professional development, CPD. We can learn independently through online resources. There are some amazing ESL teaching communities on social media. We got one on our Instagram as well, which is Cambridge_Veritas, if I'm not wrong. There's another method. It's called peer observation. Peer observation is incredibly valuable. I still remember things I learned from of watching my colleagues teach during classroom observation settings. Communities of practice actually give us a chance to share and grow together. And what about action research though? Action research is where we become investigators in our own classrooms. So testing new ideas and measuring their impact is what action research primarily is all about. Finally, here's something we sometimes overlook, and that is getting feedback from our students. And I know that this can be quite challenging due to language barriers or cultural differences where students might not feel comfortable sort of evaluating teachers. But there are ways around it. Focus on specific activities rather than the teacher personally. Use group feedback to make it less intimidating. One technique I found particularly effective in using giving simple feedback is using simple emoji-based feedback that actually works perfectly for lower level classes. And that brings us full circle. Assessment isn't just about tests or grades. It's about creating a complete picture of learning and teaching that helps everyone succeed. Before we wrap up, I'd love for you to try something this week in your classroom. There's a simple but very powerful activity I call 2 stars, and a wish challenge. What is this activity? At the end of your next class, ask students to write down 2 things they loved about the lesson, which is their stars, so 2 stars, and 1 thing they wish to learn more about, which is their wish. Collect all of these if you'd like to collect it on Chits, or there are a lot of online resources as well. Collect these anonymously, most importantly, using simple slips of paper. This kind of feedback or this kind of practice gives us immediate feedback and helps students reflect on their learning, exactly what we've been talking about in this entire lesson today. So try this out and let me know how it goes in the comments below. What did you learn about your teaching? What did your students think? And I'd also love to hear your experiences overall testing this entire strategy. And ladies and gentlemen, as usual, don't forget to subscribe for more practical ESL teaching tips and hit that notification bell to stay updated with new videos. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow teachers. Until next time, keep making a difference in your students' lives, one lesson at a time. Thanks for watching.